The gentleman that you see on my screen is a 28-year-old Detroit man, and he faces 2 felony charges related to a death of a child. And that child is right there on my screen. That is 2-year-old Bryson Potter. Very small kid, and this happened on the city's west side, according to officials. Now, at 8:50 a.m. on Friday, this dude on my screen, like it disgusts me to talk about him, but his name is Randon McMeekins. Randon McMeekins. I don't know how else you pronounce that. Let's take it back for a second. I'm going to let y'all look at that. Randon, it almost looks like random. So Randon or Random McMeekins. And he's 28 years old. And he told the Detroit police that he heard a loud noise in his home at the 9300 block of Cloverton, officials said. That's the south of West Chicago Boulevard, east of Oakman Boulevard, excuse me. He told police he went into the bathroom where this little boy, who is actually not his son, because in original reports, they thought that he was the father of this kid. He was not the father of this kid. What it was he was the boyfriend. How about that? How many times have we talked about these scenarios? I know it doesn't apply to all scenarios, but I've told you guys, as far as the ladies being in custodial care of these kids, it is very, very smart of you to be cautious who you bring around your children. It is not smart. Just because you like a man, that man shouldn't necessarily be around your kids and be caring for your kids. How many of you guys agree with that? Just because you like the dude and just because you want to be around the dude does not mean that those dudes need to be around your children. You know why? Because those children cannot speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers. Okay? That's why it's very important. It doesn't apply to all situations, but I don't think it's very weird, the fact that you have so many willing fathers out there, willing participants, that if you just gave these kids to the fathers will absolutely take them. If you need to give them to them for an extra day, or give them to them for a month, or maybe if you just need to give custody over to the dads, a lot of times the dads will take custody. That's the crazy thing. And most of my stories that I've done this month and last month and the month before that, and the month before that, let me see, the month before that, and probably the month before that, most of those situations were situations where the mother could have given custody over to the dad and the kid would have been perfectly fine. But what happened? The mother went through way more than she had to make sure that the father could not have custody of this kid. And the kid ends up dying at the hands of a man that was not the biological creator of this kid, right? He told police that the toddler went to the bathroom and just found him unresponsive, but I'm sure most of us don't believe that story, right? He told police that he tried to do CPR and then took him to the hospital. Now, the boy was pronounced dead at the hospital, and that's according to Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. The prosecutor's office alleged that the man struck the child and caused his death. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, for the people that are listening, if you would, please click the thumbs up. I want you guys to share in this stream and let everybody know that we're live. So just look down there and just make sure that that thumbs up is blue. Just highlight it, click it for me. It helps our algorithm, okay? I'm going to warn you guys while y'all are listening. These details are going to get very, very bad about this very, very small boy. So if you guys are not ready for that, I encourage you guys to just click the thumbs up and just be on your way out. For everybody else that wants to hear the details, they're about to get really, really graphic, okay? So I'm just warning you. Here we go. According to the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office, the boy, who was identified as 2-year-old Bryson Potter, died due to blunt trauma to the chest. Most of us should know here what blunt trauma means, or blunt force trauma. An autopsy of the boy showed that he suffered blunt trauma injuries to his chest. Prosecutors revealed that the 2-year-old boy was hit so hard that it ruptured the toddler's heart by this guy. I've heard of some bad things, and it doesn't get any easier to hear those kind of details. I'm going to read that part again, and I'm going to show you that's the man that did it. And it might look like that's a totally different dude. That's the same exact guy. Okay? Look at this little boy. And I want y'all to tell me what you think that this toddler, this 2-year-old boy, could have done to deserve what he got. Y'all tell me what y'all think he did to deserve what he got. So I'll just tell you what ended up happening and the reason for it. The prosecutors revealed in the autopsy that this little precious little boy was hit so hard in his chest that it ruptured the toddler's heart. The heart is a muscle. He hit him so hard that it ruptured his heart. But check this out. You know who he was dating? Because you'll see a video of her. If y'all want to see part of the trial, let me know if y'all want to see the trial where the mother is actually on the stand. And I want y'all to hear from her own words. If y'all want to see that video, let me know. I will play it. Because McMeekins was dating the child's mother, and they did release her name. Her name is Ashanti Potter. Ashanti Potter was the mother's name of the 2-year-old boy by the name of Bryson Potter. Now, Randon McMeekins, this fool right here, was bound over on murder charges and child abuse charges in the death of the toddler Monday after prosecutors played a video of him explaining how he hit the child during a toilet training issue. That means the little boy had an accident. He peed on himself. Last time I checked, I don't know how many of you guys are parents out there. If you're a parent, let me know. I don't know. Like some of y'all I do know. I've talked to you. Some of y'all I do not know. Some of y'all, this might be your first time here. Please let me know who is a parent here. Who has ever been in custody over a child or even tried to potty train a kid? They pee on themselves. That's what they do until they learn better. Me personally, I wouldn't expect a kid to really get that down packed until they're like maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. And for some of y'all might think that's too old. Me personally, 24 months old is perfectly fine. If you have an accident, have it. But that's what children do. But then again, that's why we're the AFC. We're telling people, stop beating your kids, because some people don't know when enough is enough. And some people think just because their parents did it to them, it's okay. And I'm here to tell you, it is not okay to beat a 2-year-old for any damn thing. Let's move on. Detroit police were dispatched to the hospital where they arrested him. The preliminary report listed McMeekins as the boy's father, but later updated that there was no relationship between the two, according to Corporal Dan Danikowski. The real biological father, which we're going to hear from, his name is Gerard Love, Gerard Love. And he seems to be a pretty good dude, but I don't know him, but he seems to have been okay. The prosecutor's office says that the two were just acquaintances. A representative of the family described the man as a family friend. Oh my God. Now, I recently re-uploaded a video that you guys got a chance to watch, which was the story where the, I have to go back and look it up. Matter of fact, I could probably look it up now because I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to see it. First of all, I want to thank a person that donated, which is my guy, Pinko Kami. I don't know if you're in the chat, but I want to say thank you for you donating by way of Cash App. And if you guys want to utilize those links in the description box, that's what they're there for. If you guys want to show some love to the AFC. The story I re-uploaded was called Nariah Ivy Brown, and she was murdered at the Colony House Motor Lodge. I did a very, very long expose on that story, but nonetheless, what you had happen in that situation was very similar to this, because what they tried to say was that the mother left her kid in the hands of a quote-unquote family friend. Another family friend. Thank you, Janet. Janet knows what I'm talking about. What about popping the hand? Let me ask you this, Lorenzo, because it's okay. We'll have a conversation about this one day just as a topic. But let me ask you this. Is the only way that you can get people to listen to you, human beings to listen to you, is for you to put your hands on them? Do you treat your girlfriend that way? Would you treat your wife that way? If you were a boss at your job, if you had employees that worked underneath you, if they didn't listen to you or do what you needed them to do, would you pop them on the hand? Because in my opinion, it's very bully-like. If someone is a quarter of your size and you would take your hand, feet, or any other objects and whack that kid for any damn reason. I'm just saying, I thought this was supposed to be a learning process for a 2-year-old. Not that if I do something wrong, I'm going to get hit. All that teaches is fear. That's it. Understand what I just said. Listen to what I said. Hitting teaches fear. Say it with me, guys. Hitting teaches fear. I want you to think about something, because I was listening to a particular person. I'm not going to say any names, but this person was talking about slavery and what black people went through in slavery, right? And I got to thinking to myself, this person was talking about all of these bad things that happened to black people, and black people went through this and black people went through that and blah, blah, blah. Most of us have heard this our entire lives. And I'm sorry. Not only did our parents not go through that, some of us, our parents' parents didn't even go through that. I'm sorry. It's time to let that shit go, in my opinion. We're not learning anything, and all we're doing is continuing to hold on to a whole lot of hate for no good damn reason. Most of us have to work with white people. Most of us have to work for white people. Straight up and down. Most black people ain't hiring black people like that. Most black people aren't building businesses like that. They're not investing their money in things that we can work for them for. So in that case, why would we continue to disparage a group of people who continue to make sure that we're not missing our next meal? We're not missing our next payment on our electric bill, gas bill, water bill, whatever bill, cell phone bill. Most of y'all want to go to the club and pop bottles and shit. Only way most of them are able to do that is because they have a job by these benevolent white people who we continue to keep disparaging day after fucking day, year after year, excuse my language. It's stupid. So this is my point about bringing that up. If it's so bad, if what we went through was so bad, why do we take things that they did to us back then and implement them now? The proverbial whip or belt, taking the belt off and whacking a kid in order to teach him a lesson. I'm going to put you in your place. Kids are to be seen and not heard, right? I'm going to show y'all a screenshot of what this fool put on his Facebook page. His Facebook page is still active under Randon McMeekins. That's his Facebook name. It's still up for now. Let somebody, family member, go take it down. I'm going to show you a screenshot. This is the type of thing that I've been talking about, and I've told y'all, be very, very cautious when people post things on their Facebook page or people say certain things, because it means a deeper thing. When people share these type of things, it means something. He actually shared somebody's post, and it said, a child needs to stay in a child's place, and y'all parents need to enforce it. A child needs to stay in a child's place, and y'all need to enforce it. Some of y'all might look at that and be like, yeah, sounds about right. But I want you to think about this. Think about it logically. Let's put on our logic caps for a moment. What exactly is a child's place? Anybody want to give an explanation of that? What is a child's place? If you know what a child's place is, post it in the chat. Nobody's going to block you. We only got a couple people with moderator wrenches. I'll promise you. Don't be scared to type your true thoughts. I see y'all in here. What do y'all think a child's place is or supposed to be? Because in my opinion, a child's place is to be taught. A child's place is to be loved. A child's place is to be educated. And a child's place is to be protected. Our primary thing is supposed to be to protect our children. Most of us believe that our children are subservient to us. Most of us treat our children like they're literally paychecks. Hashtag babies for benefits. A lot of us that I heard just randomly procreating just to create another check to come into the household. Yep. A child's place. Let's go ahead and move on past that. Here's what I want to bring up again. The family said that they described this man as simply a family friend. So based on the Ivy Brown story, what do y'all think a family friend is? That means she was having sex with him. That means mama was having sex with the dude. Whether you don't want to call it a relationship or whatever you want to call it, Randon McMeekins was not just some family friend, right? Let's move on. McMeekins was arraigned at Corporal Dan Danikowski on 1 count of felony murder and 1 count of felony first-degree child abuse. Magistrate Don White denied him bond, and McMeekins had petitioned for a court-appointed attorney, meaning he didn't have any money. Nonetheless, he couldn't afford private counsel. Last May, McMeekins was discharged. Last year, McMeekins was discharged from a 3.5-year probation term after a December 2014 plea in Wayne County on charges of possession of marijuana and possession of a loaded gun in or on a vehicle. Meaning he has a criminal record. Meaning the mother knew he had a criminal record, or she should have known before she brought him around her kid. Meaning she did not give a damn about who she brought around her kid. Sorry, he couldn't have been the only dude that you could have dated or anything like that. I'm sorry. It's enough men to go around for the most part for y'all to find a better suitable candidate to bring around your kid than somebody who has a criminal record. Let's move on. During his preliminary hearing in the 36th District Court on Monday afternoon, the child's biological mother, again, her name is Ashanti Potter, she took to the, where's my place? The mother took to the stand, and I'm going to show y'all that video. She recalled the day that her toddler died, and she was at work when she noticed over a dozen missed calls from McMeekins and got calls from her manager telling her that her son was in the hospital. She arrived to find her mother screaming and her son dead on a hospital bed with bruises to the right side of his chest. In court Monday, prosecutors played a video of police questioning McMeekins. Investigators say that he originally told them the child was in the bathroom while he was in another room. He heard a bang and walked in to find the child on the floor. But in the video, he admitted to striking the child with the back of his hand, which I think that's a lie. He probably punched the shit out of that kid. To rip his heart up? You took your fist and punched it and tried to punch it through his chest like this was a freaking game of Mortal Kombat or something. He demonstrated on a water bottle on a table, saying that the child started gasping for air. I feel like I hit him hard, he said in the video. An investigator on the stand testified that McMeekins eventually revealed that the hit happened during the incident with the toilet training situation. He was upset because the child peed on himself. He said that on the stand. And the defense argued that the incident does not merit a first-degree charge because the backhand slap wasn't intended to kill the child, but the judge bound him over his original charges. But he's also an avid dog lover, and I thought that was really strange how he's so in love with dogs but treated a kid worse than a dog. Let's go ahead and get this fair use popping and show you guys the news videos that we got. While you guys are here, please click the thumbs up. Everybody together, click the thumbs up. It'll share the stream and let everybody know that we're live. So click that algorithm, click that thumbs up. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Gerard Love says he never met the suspect and didn't even know anything about him, and he now has these words for other parents.
With me being in the condition I'm in, I wasn't able to get out to the house a little more than I usually would, you know, before my accident. So again, it was like no indication that anything was going on.
Still recovering from a motorcycle crash that left him with 2 broken arms and a broken leg, Gerard Love says he never met and knows nothing about the man accused of killing his 2-year-old son, Bryson. Detroit police say 28-year-old Randon McMeekins was the toddler's mother's boyfriend, a man now charged with felony murder and child abuse. Prosecutors say McMeekins killed Bryson after hitting him in the chest.
That's just senseless. Like, you know, I don't even hit my son. You know, so it doesn't, you know, it don't take all that to discipline a child or, you know, get a child to learn something.
Oh, I love what he said, and I'm going to back that up so y'all can hear from the biological father because he expresses the same type of sentiments that I express. Listen to him again. He said that you don't have to teach a kid that way. You don't have to go through all of that to teach a kid something. Listen again.
That's just senseless. Like, you know, I don't even hit my son. You know, so it doesn't, you know, it don't take all that to discipline a child or, you know, get a child to learn something.
This is a 2015 mugshot of Randon McMeekins tied to a conviction on weapons and possession of marijuana for which he received probation. And Friday morning inside this house on Clover Lawn near Chicago is where police say McMeekins first claimed that he heard a loud thump in the bathroom and found his girlfriend's son unresponsive. But investigators said the little boy did not hurt himself. And Bryson's dad is one of so many people who want justice for his little boy.
And the reason the dad is in a wheelchair is because he had a motorcycle accident, just to let you guys know. So it sounds like that was pretty recent. So yeah, he's not like wheelchair bound from what I understand. He's recovering from some injuries.
Just for the fact that my son won't be able to live the rest of his life. Like, this is the greatest tragedy is, you know, my baby being robbed. You know, he had so much promise. He was always a happy baby.
This grieving father's message to parents who leave their children with people they may think they can trust.
And there's never such thing as too much information regarding your children. Like, no one will love or care for your children the way that you do. And it's hard to put your child in the trust and care of another, but be very aware of who you entrust your children to, because an hour is too long.
And at least for
y'all heard that, right? Sounds familiar, don't it? Mm-hmm.
For now, Randon McMeekins won't be leaving jail. He's being held without bond. On Detroit's West Side, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
And that's a little bitty boy too, man. This is so senseless. But I want y'all to watch this and listen to the biological mother. Her name is Bryson Potter. Listen to her in court. Listen to this. It's kind of long, so kick back and listen. If I have to skip through it, I will. Here we go.
And who were you with?
I was with my son, Bryson Potter, and Randon McMeekins.
Okay, and do you see Mr. McMeekins in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Did you point to him and identify a piece of clothing he's wearing?
I'm sorry?
And identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
He had on green.
For the record, the witnesses identified Mr. McMeekins, the defendant in this matter. So, okay. And you said that you're at home with your son, Bryson Potter, correct?
Yes.
How old was Bryson at that time?
He's 2 years old.
Okay. And and you're Bryson's biological mother?
Yes.
When you gave birth to Bryson, was there any health issues
No.
that he had? Throughout the 2 years of his life, was there any other health issues that came to your attention?
No.
Now, going back to September 26th, before you left for work, how was Bryson acting?
He was energetic. We were playing.
Did you seem unhealthy at all or sick?
No.
How did you get to work that day?
Randon drove me in my truck.
And was there anybody else with you?
My son, Bryson.
And what time did you arrive to work?
3:50.
Now, during the ride to work, what was Bryson doing?
Sleeping.
Was he alive at that time?
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to ask. Going back to when you're at the house, what is that address?
9303 Clover Line in Detroit, Michigan.
Is that in Wayne County?
Yes.
Now, when you get to work, where do you work at?
Rainbow Rehabilitation Center.
And did your shift, how long did you work that day?
16 hours.
So you completed the 16-hour shift?
She worked 16 hours and left her kid with a boyfriend, not even the father, for 16 hours? Damn. She doesn't look distraught at all. I'm glad y'all called that out.
You look kind of young to me. I don't know how long high school been. Can you give me a ballpark?
2005.
Okay, so it's about 14 years. And at what point did you become boyfriend, girlfriend?
I guess you can say December 2018.
December of 2018, and she already is just leaving her kid with him, no questions asked. That's irresponsible. Yes, I agree with you in the chat. I think she should be charged for this too, because that's neglect. You just leave somebody just with your kid like that, yes, you should be charged.
Okay, so it's coming up on a year.
Correct.
And you two live together?
Not even a year. Isn't that something?
No.
Okay. But he was there. Brandon was there when you went to work.
Correct.
How often was he there?
He's been with me every day since June.
Okay. Brandon has been with you every day since June.
Correct.
Does that mean he was living in the house since June?
No.
Okay. Well, how often would he be residing in the home?
You mean how many days a week? Or
Okay, that's fair enough, yeah.
I really can't give you a ballpark number. I can only tell you he's been there with me every day since June.
Wow. So she has no idea how long this dude was staying at her house. Come on now. I know some ladies in the chat know that she's full of shit about that. Come on now. Y'all know how many days of the week or how often your man is at your house. Am I lying? Y'all know. Ladies know. Come on now. That's BS right there.
So from June
Okay, I guess
16th through September the 27th.
Okay, I ain't trying to get too deep up in your personal life, but would you say every day? Does that mean he spent the night every night?
Not every night.
Okay. But he was there very frequently, is that fair to say?
Yes.
And he knew your son quite well.
Yes.
Because your son was what, 2 you said?
Yes.
And you felt comfortable with him around your son, correct?
Correct.
You hadn't seen him be abusive towards your son, had you?
No.
You trusted him?
Correct.
So it's your testimony that he did not have those injuries when you, or prior injuries when you went to work?
Other than the scrapes that he had when he fell, no.
I'm going to tell you guys this. This is the thing that really bothers me about this, because I know this body language because I've been around our sisters my entire life. I'm going to tell you what this is. She's in defensive mode. She doesn't want to get in trouble. And I understand not wanting to get in trouble. But I think when it comes to the death of your kid, you should be honest as possible. You at least owe it to the legacy of your child to just be honest, right? She's not being honest about herself emotionally because she's being very, very defensive because she just doesn't want to get in trouble. That's her only goal at this point. That's it. And I think that's unfair to her kid.
Tell me about those scrapes.
They were just old scars.
From how old? Best guess.
Maybe a few months.
Few months. Okay. Is that yes for the record?
Yes.
All right. So you didn't notice any kind of red marks?
I didn't examine his body.
Well, who washed him up that morning?
She said she did not examine the child's body. What type of parent doesn't take care of their kid to a point? Think about this. The kid is still potty training, meaning the kid is probably still in diapers, meaning that you probably still have to change diapers, right? So you mean to tell me you're going to ignore all of those marks on his arms, on his legs, on his head, on his ears, and his chest? Huh, interesting. He didn't just get all that beating that one night, that one day. That's interesting. Very interesting.
I wasn't with him that morning.
I can't hear either one of you. What did you say?
I said, when you went to work, well, let me backtrack. When you went to work, where was Brandon?
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, your son. When you went to work, where was your son?
My son was at home with me.
Okay. And what time do you go to work?
I went to work at 3:45
AM or PM?
p.m.
Okay. And so when your son got hugged, did you give him a bath?
Yes.
Okay. Did you notice any injuries on him?
She gave him a bath, so she would have had to have the visual.
You bathed him?
Other than the scrapes that I just told you about, no.
Okay. Who disciplined your son in the home?
Ooh, that's a good question. Who disciplined your son? Because that could get you caught up in a lot of lies depending on how you answer it. Who's the disciplinarian in the home? Y'all click that thumbs up if you're here, okay? Who disciplines him? Let's listen.
Me or Randon.
How did you do that?
She said they both discipline him.
I spanked his bottom or his legs.
She says she spanks his bottom and his legs. Listen at this again. I'll back this up slightly. Listen again.
Okay. And so when your son got hugged, did you give him a bath?
Yes.
Okay. Did you notice any injuries on him when you bathed him?
Other than the scrapes that I just told you about, no.
Okay.
Here we go.
Who disciplined your son in the home?
Me or Randon.
How did you do that?
I spanked his bottom or his legs.
So the injuries on his bottom and his legs came from her. She made the marks. Thank you. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Using a belt?
No.
Didn't use a belt. So what did she hit him with?
Never?
Not anything that could leave marks on my son. No.
Huh? Really? Let me ask you guys something. Where are my people out there that grew up in a household where you got spankings? Where y'all at? Somebody speak up and say something. How many of y'all have ever gotten spanked or whooped or hit or disciplined or whatever the hell you want to call it? How many of y'all have ever gotten hit by your parents and it did not leave a mark? That's important because you cannot minimize those kind of things because a child is dead behind it. It cannot be minimized. Anything can leave a mark. Come on now. I didn't hit him with nothing that can leave a mark. That's bullshit. Yes, you did. He had marks all over him. Listen again. I've never heard of getting a markless spanking. I got my ass whooped, but I had no marks. Come on now.
Other than the scrapes that I just told you about, no.
Come on.
Who disciplined your son in the home?
Me or Randon.
Me or who did she say? Me or Randon. Yep, both of them. A markless whooping. Wow. Like we're going to continue to just keep lying on our kids like that, right? Wow. Where's Black Lives Matter when you need them? Anything you spank a kid with will leave a mark. Thank you.
How did you do that?
I spanked his bottom or his legs.
Using a belt?
No.
Never?
Not anything that could leave marks on my son. No.
You didn't. I've never heard no shit like that. You spanked a 2-year-old, but you spanked him with something that don't leave marks. An invisible belt, I guess? Oh my God. Come on, let's move on. Jesus Christ.
And Brandon didn't either, did he?
I can't testify to what Randon did.
Well,
What he did in front of me, no.
okay, so you can testify that he never spanked Brandon with a belt in front of you, correct?
There is I don't know how to describe the belt, but it's like a cloth. So that belt wouldn't have left any marks on my son.
That's the sign of a horrible mother. It was a cloth belt. Am I just stupid or something? What is a cloth belt? Has anybody ever heard of that? A cloth belt. And a cloth belt won't leave marks, but you could spank a kid hard enough to hurt them, but it's not going to leave marks. Really? Really, bro? Come on, man.
Okay, so first I asked you, was a belt used?
I said not a leather belt.
I
No.
didn't mention anything about a leather belt.
But
See? There we go. She said, I said not a leather belt. I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about a leather belt. He didn't say what kind of belt at all. He just said a belt. A robe belt. Like, why would you even spank a kid with a robe belt if you're not intending to try to hurt him or put some fear into him? Listen at this again. Listen at her bull crap. Listen.
it wouldn't have left any marks on my son.
Okay, so first I asked you, was a belt used?
I said not a leather belt.
I
No.
didn't mention anything about a leather belt.
But that's what I said to you.
Okay. So a belt was used.
Yes.
Is that correct?
You see how she's pausing on her answers. That means that she's trying not to get herself in trouble. Just be honest. The easiest thing you could do is just be honest. That's it. If you can't be honest about what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it. Y'all catch what I'm saying? If you cannot be honest about what you did to your kid, if you can't get in front of a judge and tell the judge, this is what I did to my child, that's how you know that you should not be doing it. That's pretty damn simple.
Yes.
And you used a belt, correct?
Yes.
How wide would you say that belt was?
It's not a wide belt. It's
Show me with
quite
your
small.
fingers.
And this is the type, I'm going to tell you, the reason why I hate this is because y'all can tell I listen to Tommy a lot because everything she says is bothering me. He asked her very simple questions and she answers things that he didn't even say. He didn't even ask her. How wide is the belt? It wasn't that wide. How was that an answer to a question? He said, how wide? That's a direct answer. Thank you. Somebody said, why are you even using a belt on a 2-year-old? That's my point. But most of us can attest that it either happened to us or we know people that it happened to or know parents that are currently doing it. That's why I'm begging everybody to stop hitting your children. Period. Stop hitting them. How wide was the belt? It wasn't that wide. How many times have y'all watched Tommy do interviews? And shout out to my brother Tommy. How many times have y'all watched him do interviews? He asks people direct questions, mainly black women. Ask them direct questions and they give you a totally different answer or give you an answer so that they don't get themselves in trouble. That's the sign of a liar.
Okay. So a belt was used.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you used a belt, correct?
Yes.
How wide would you say that belt was?
It's not a wide belt. It's
Show me with
quite
your
small.
fingers.
It's about this thick.
All right, hold it up so the judge can see. For the record, Mr. Makepeace, can we agree that's about 1.5 inches?
That's a bit, all of it, inch and a half.
About 2 inches. All right. When was the last time you spanked Brandon with that belt? Bryson with the belt.
It had to be a few days, maybe a week or so.
Okay. And
She beats her kid that often? How do you beat a 2-year-old that often? What are 2-year-olds doing that's that bad that they need to be spanked that often? Are y'all hearing this? A few days, few weeks. He's only 2. Damn.
where did you spank him?
On his butt.
On his leg?
His butt.
A 2-inch wide cloth belt. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man.
But could that belt have struck him on his legs?
No.
On his arms?
Thank you. Somebody said, I'm surprised she didn't say a shoestring. I spanked him with a shoestring. It wouldn't have left any marks. Let me ask you guys this. If you were hit with a shoestring, would it leave a mark? Even though that's a little bit, we're exaggerating a little bit. If you were to get spanked, if I were to take a shoestring and hit it across my arm, would it leave a mark on my skin? If I took it and whoosh, hit my skin with a shoestring, even a shoestring would leave a damn mark. Who hits an infant? Oh, hey, we're opening Pandora's box over here, man. Lots of parents beat kids from the moment that they're born. They start crying. They slap them. They spank them. They hit them. They slam them. All kind of stuff. Most of the stories I've done just this year alone. Yes.
And if Brandon would have struck Bryson while you were at work, you certainly would have noticed that the next time you either bathed your son or put him to bed, right?
Correct. If it left marks.
And she keeps throwing that in there like she's trying to minimize it. If he left marks. If you spank a kid, it's going to leave a goddamn mark.
All right. Did you two talk about discipline with Bryson?
Not really.
Did that responsibility fall to you or to Brandon?
To me, he was my son.
Well, I get that, but you have Brandon living there.
His name is Randon.
You have Randon living there, right?
Randon lived there part-time.
He lived there part-time, and then she tried. What is part-time? How do you live somewhere part-time? Anybody want to explain that? How do you live anywhere part-time? At first, she didn't want to say how many days he was there. Then she tries to admit and say that she works all the time, including she said she worked for 16 hours. So that means if it was just her and Randon living at the house, who else was watching the kid? 16 hours is not part-time, right? So we're assuming if you worked, let's say 3-4 days a week. Let's do the math. Let's play the math game a little bit here. I'm going to show y'all something. She worked a 16-hour shift. Let's just say if she worked that in 3 days. I used to work 3 12-hour shifts a week. Back in the day when I first had my daughter. Shout out to my daughter, by the way. If you worked 3 16-hour shifts, you are already over full-time. Full-time is 40 hours or 30 or 39 and a half, however you want to calculate it. That equivocates to 48 hours in 1 week, and that's only if you work 3 days. So you're working full-time hours, but he's only living there part-time. Do y'all get where I'm going? So either one or two things are true. Either the boyfriend is watching him full-time, or you're leaving that kid there at 2 years old at the house by himself. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can both of those things be true? How can he be there part-time when you work full-time? Y'all are the only two watching the kid, but he's only there part-time when he was living with you. Randon McMeekins, 28 years old, was living with you for a year. For less than a year. Boom. Either one is horrible.
Now, you didn't see Randon getting violent towards Bryson at all, did you?
No.
This came as a surprise to you.
Correct.
Who was involved in potty training, Bryson?
Me and Randon McMeekins.
Okay.
She noticed she didn't say anything about the biological father. She said the only people that were there was her and Randon. Notice that. Nobody else. How long did she know this dude? She said that she knew the dude since high school, but she's only been with him since December. Less than a year. About 2 months shy of a year.
How was that going?
It was actually going quite well.
I didn't hear you.
It was going well.
One moment, Your Honor.
We're almost done with her testimony, guys. She knew him since high school. She had a baby by Gerard Love, who was the biological father of the little 2-year-old boy Bryson Potter. But later on, which apparently, well, God dog, that's really not a lot of time. I want y'all to think about that. Tommy talks about this a lot too. Think about this. The child is only 24 months old. Randon McMeekins, the dude that is arrested for the murder, was with her for almost a year. Y'all catch that? Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that compliment. Thank you. Randon was with her almost a year, half of the child's life. So at what point did her and Gerard break up? That's really not that much time. So as soon as that baby was born, 12 months later, you're already in another relationship with somebody raising your kid. Y'all catch that? Some of y'all might have missed that, but just Jay didn't miss that. I didn't miss that.
So at one point you had 10 dogs in the house?
And I would object to the relevance.
If you give me a little bit, because there may be some issues with it. Thank you. So at one point there were 10 dogs in the house?
The grown dogs were outside. The puppies were the only ones inside of my home.
Okay, there were 10 dogs at the house.
Correct.
Damn, that's a lot
And you
of
said at
dogs.
one point, when was this?
When were all the dogs at my home?
Yes.
Probably early September.
2 months.
So they had 10 dogs early September. Wait a minute. Does that even make any sense? Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Let's go to the thinking cap. She said early September, 10 dogs were in her house because they were his dogs. But she said Randon and her got into a relationship in December. So that means he was already at the house prior to them being in a relationship. So she's lying about the dates now. So she said they got into a relationship in December, which is shy of a year because that would be this month. 2 months from now would be December. Then she said September they had 10 dogs in the house because he's a dog breeder according to his Facebook page. He got a ton of dogs on there. Listen at it again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I heard it wrong. She said she got with him in December. They were in a relationship for less than a year, which would be about right. Then, now she says they had 10 dogs in the house by September. She's lying.
Probably early September.
2 months before this incident, correct?
That would have been 1 month.
1 month before this incident.
Actually,
Now,
the same month.
excuse me?
That would have been the same month.
So they were there the same month as this incident?
Correct. We rotated the dogs out. So at one point, there would only be 2 adults, and then we sold the puppies, and we're left with 2 puppies.
Sold the dogs, meaning she was dog breeding. So what I said was correct. Thank you, Jimmy D. That was a good catch. She's lying. Breeding dogs.
Describe the interaction with these dogs and Bryson.
He played with the dogs.
My objection, I don't know if this is relevant to the issues. Maybe.
He barely played with the dogs.
Excuse me?
He barely played with the dogs.
Okay. So the dogs, you never saw the dogs scratch Bryson?
He may have been scratched by the dog.
He put that out there. I hate that he suggested that. So he might have been scratched by the dogs. Yeah, he might have been scratched by the dogs. That's where the marks came from. He put that in her head. I don't like that.
Well,
I said he barely played with the dogs.
okay. Would you have seen if any marks were on Bryson due to the dogs?
Yes.
But you never saw any?
Not really, no.
So she now confirmed, and I'm glad he got that confirmation, because that was dumb on his part to even risk that. But I think that was probably a calculated risk. He's saying that maybe the dogs did it. She said, nope, dogs didn't put no marks on him. But she's forgetting the fact that they confirmed at the autopsy at the hospital that he had all kinds of marks on him, and he just ruled out the fact that it was not the dogs. Good job.
Maybe a scratch, but not, like I said, not anything severe to hurt my son.
Nothing to break the skin for him to cry and let you know that he'd been scratched by a dog?
Correct.
All right. And certainly,
She just ruled it out herself because she thought, yep, right. It didn't come from the dogs. The dogs didn't abuse him. But what she don't realize, this is why you can't tell these type of women where you're trying to go with your line of questioning. You just need to force them to answer the questions because they will lie to you.
no one brought that to your attention when you came home?
No.
Thank you. I've got nothing else.
You redirect.
Yes, Judge. On September 26th and 27th, when you were at work, who was to be taking care of Bryson?
Randon.
And had you done that in the past with him? Left Bryson in Brandon's care?
Yes.
And you said Mr. Woodard's asked you about how you disciplined your son. You said that you spanked him on the butt and the legs, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever hit him on the chest?
No.
And when you said that you saw a bruise on his chest at the hospital, could you describe that more?
Can I describe the bruise?
Yeah.
There were
exactly?
just some indentations on the right side of his chest.
Nothing further.
Thank you, man. You may step down.
Woo wee. Y'all had to see this, and I'm glad that y'all stuck around to hear that. That is painful to listen to. But also, I think it's very thuggish for a person to beat their children, to beat any kind of children. An innocent child, look how small he is. There's nothing he could have did that was that wrong. And I'm going to tell you guys, there is absolutely nothing. And I want you to know this, young prince. Bryson Potter, in heaven right now, there is nothing that you did wrong to deserve what Randon McMeekins and his mother, Ashanti Potter, put you through in your very short time on this earth. There is absolutely no reason for that. A child's place is to be protected, loved, nourished, and raised. Not to be beaten, hit, cussed out, punished. That's not how we raise children. If that's how you're raising children, I encourage you guys to stop. I just emailed another person earlier today that was asking me for parenting tips and asking me what are some better ways to raise children rather than hitting them. So I had to get some more information. So we're waiting on that email. But I promise you, if you guys are struggling with this, email me. We can talk about it. Don't just post about it in the comments section. I always ask you guys to talk to me. Don't put yourself in a position where that one time you give your child just a little bit too much discipline like you've been doing. It was fine 100 other times. The one time you did it caused that child to die. Y'all do realize that children can also die by way of stress also, right? You could literally scare a child to death. That child can be scared, hyperventilate, and die because they're scared of the next discipline that you're going to give them. He's only 2 years old. What does he really know? He's learning how to talk, learning how to walk, learning about his bodily systems, how they function, how they work. What am I supposed to do? How much do you remember being a 2-year-old? Because me personally, I don't remember much about being a 2-year-old. I don't remember much. We are learning at that point, learning about being a human being, learning about just the simplest things, learning how to walk and not fall. Man. 2-year-old Bryson Potter. To Randon McMeekins for the part that he played in this. We're going to vote that we send him also to the moon. Put him on the space program. Where your rocket ship emojis at? Does he deserve to be on the space program in NASA? Me personally, I think so. And I think we also need to volunteer that Ashanti might need to do a couple of tours in space as well. Ashanti Potter, the mother, also caused her kid to be in this position, nor did she care. And I'm sorry to Gerard Love, the biological father. It seemed like he was a good dad, and he was just robbed of the opportunity to be a dad because, like so many of us, we're at the mercy of the system. And as long as the mothers continue to keep getting full rights and don't allow the man to have any rights over their kids and force this man to jump through hoops and rings, and people continue to keep patting the man on the back and say, you need to keep doing it. Just keep jumping through all the rings. Keep fighting for your kid. Raising your child should not be a goddamn fight. Sorry, but anybody who says that is stupid and they're wrong. I'm going to say it again. It should not be a fight to participate in a child that you helped bring into this world, and the mother would have never gotten an opportunity to be a mother to that child if not for that male seed. And I encourage men to start being more responsible. We all have to participate in this process. And I'm going to put this on the men. To Gerard Love, the biological father of Bryson Potter, to myself, and to all of the men that are watching right now, put your seed away. These type of people, these type of mothers, hashtag not all, because it's not all, but these type of mothers do not deserve your seed. You could stop all of this as men if you just put your seed away. Stop recklessly procreating with these type of chicks. There's some good women out there, and I know that I have some good women out there in my chat. I know it's some good women out there that are listening to my stream right now. It's some good women out there in your cities, in your states, in your communities. Be diligent with your seed and wait until the time is right. The time may never be perfect, but wait until the time is right. And all you can do is all you can do at that point. Be diligent and try to make sure that you're careful who you procreate with. We need to start having more nuclear families, biological mother, biological father in the household, raising these children together. It's a very, very simple thing, at least for the situations that we're in now, while the mothers have these kids and the men are forced to be on child support and all of this bull crap. I'm simply asking to those mothers who have custody of the kids, if you were able to lay down with that man and create this kid by that man, I encourage you. Allow that man the opportunity to be a father. Don't make this man fight, okay? I'm just asking, simply asking. Don't make that man fight and go through so much crap, because in the end, the only person that is going to hurt is the kids. And it for goddamn sure wasn't worth putting them around somebody like Randon McMeekins at 28 years old. Okay. I want to thank all of you guys, and thank you to Harry Allen. He said, Jay, you're doing a great job exposing the insanity of the mating and relationship choices of some black people. They expose their children to thugs and criminals who take their innocent lives. And I do agree with that. And I thank you guys so much for understanding what my message is. My message from my heart to yours is to advocate for children first. As you can see from the shirt, DJ Just Jay was signing out. Love you guys. Thank you guys. Y'all have a great night, man. Peace.